Madam Speaker, my very last question on this matter was whether government would commission a study on the whole subject, so I can only welcome very sincerely this study that is being commissioned by a UK personality. May I ask the Honourable Minister when he expects the study to begin in practice, and secondly, will he set a deadline so that we are able to come quickly to some improvement in the situation?
Yes, I am expecting that the task will start early next year, and we should be, I expect to receive a report thereon by the end of the first semester, so that we can bring the necessary legislative changes.
I ask the Honourable Minister whether one of the terms of reference of the study will be to look into the very, very poor pass rates. This year, I think it is 6% of barristers have passed. 94% of these very bright young people have failed, I think through no fault of their own. One of the terms of reference, will it be to ensure that a fair number of deserving students are able to pass, setting the right conditions for them to be able to do so?
Yes, indeed. Mr. Speaker, what is happening now is it's disjointed. Whatever is happening at the University of Mauritius and whatever is happening at the Council of the CVLE, the Council for Vocational Legal Education, seems to be happening in a disjointed manner. Prior to 2012, the Council was running the courses, setting the questions, and even marking the papers. There was a proper synergy. After the amendments in 2012, things have changed quite drastically. So all this will be reviewed and recommendations will be made by the high-level committee of experts.
Madam Speaker, in the meantime, some things can be done and we don't need to wait for the study. For instance, there are persistent complaints that lecturers, firstly, are not provided with the teaching skills. They are well-intentioned people, but they are not teachers, that often they come late or they actually don't turn up at all for the lecture, and often do not complete the syllabus. Now, can there be, in the meantime, better communication between the CVLE and the lecturers, because there's no communication, to ensure that these sort of things do not occur for this year?
Yes, I will, of course, convey through the representatives sitting on the CVLE, but I think the problem is goes deeper than just lateness or failure to complete the syllabus. Universities tend to have an academic approach, while the examinations for the CVLE are almost entirely, if not entirely, practically oriented.
Indeed, that is why there should be communication with the lecturers and the CVLE to ensure that, at least in the meantime, the lecturers know what is expected of them, because there has been no communication at all. Can the Minister perhaps use his good officers to ensure that?
I will certainly, Madam Speaker.
Is the Minister aware that this year the lectures were completed, I think, on the end of August, giving only 10 days for revision for all the students taking these exams? Will the Minister also ensure that this doesn't recur in the future, please?
I can only transmit to the Council through the representative of my office.
I again ask the Honourable Minister, apparently there were no examinations report, examiners report, since 2013. We're talking 5 years ago, there has been no examiners report, that is a report saying to the students and to lecturers what was right and what was wrong with the answers given. Does the Honourable Minister can you tell us why that has occurred?
No, Madam Speaker, I don't have that information as to such detail as to the examiners report. The House will appreciate this is a matter best dealt with by the Council in its independence. But I can, of course, convey the concern of the House through the representative to look into the question of whether examiners' report were prepared, and if not, why not?
Madam Speaker, I'm going to ask the Honourable Minister whether consideration will be given immediately to the hiring of overseas lecturers to come and beef up in the meantime the lectures given, so that overseas lecturers from UK, from Australia, Canada, whatever, can come and help, at least in some of these topics, to help them upgrade the level of lectures given immediately.
Well, Madam Speaker, this falls under the jurisdiction of the Vocational Examinations Board and the Council for Vocational Legal Examination. It would, I think, not be proper for a minister to interfere to that extent in the affairs of the Council.
I would like the minister to, as he appears to, care for the situation, which I must explain, Madam Speaker, that the situation, and this is why I'm saying all this, is particularly detrimental to the poor students. Rich students can go overseas, and they do go overseas, and pass the exams quite easily. It is the poor students who suffer from this system. And therefore, this is why I repeat my question. Please, can the minister talk to the CVLE, ensure that this year, because we never know when the study will be implemented and done, this year, immediately, overseas lecturers are available to help the poorest of the poor students who cannot afford to go overseas.
Yes, the government is fully aware of the situation. There is the issue of the lecturer. Of course, there is the issue of those who have the means go abroad. But there is also, not to be ignored, the issue that Mauritian law is by its very nature complicated, as I stated in the opening paragraph, so that the difficulties encountered with the examinations here are not necessarily the same difficulties encountered when taking examinations in the UK or any other jurisdiction. We are a mixed legal jurisdiction. This makes it, in the words of Mr. Vanchard, le droit mauricien est, de par la pluralité de ses origines, réputé pour la difficulté de son approche. This all has to be put in the balance as well.
Madam Speaker, I think it is more an institutional problem rather than a difficult problem concerning the law in Mauritius. This is why people are failing, and they were getting 3, 4, 5% pass rate. Madam Speaker, I'd like to ask the Honourable Minister whether, in fact, why attorneys are not allowed to study and pass their vocational exams overseas, whereas the course is virtually identical to the courses for barristers.
Yes, exactly. Totally agree. In fact, I am expecting that the high-level committee of experts will make recommendations on this specific issue as well. I know some attorneys might not be happy about that, but we have to have a very broad outlook on this question.
Madam Speaker, I looked at the number of barristers this time who swore, whatever the name is, who were admitted to the bar this year. Over the last 5 years, less than 10% actually passed their exams in Mauritius, 90% passed their exams overseas. So isn't that a case that to show clearly that the situation is totally unfair to the poor students who take their exams in Mauritius, and therefore this question of difficulty in law is not a real question, and we should really look into facilitating and helping the local students.
I am hoping that the report of the committee of experts will be comprehensive enough to address all those issues. Of course, the issue of the manuals, the issue of the lecturers, the synergy between the courses and the examinations, and also review mechanisms, as I stated earlier. Right now, if a student does not go through the advocacy, there is no review mechanism. This has to be addressed as well.
I also know, Minister, whether he has inquired into the fact why, out of some 25 prospective notaries, not a single one of them passed their exams this year.
Madam Speaker, the committee which government will set up will look at all the 3 branches of the profession, and not only barristers, but also attorneys as well as notaries.
Speaker, can I ask Honourable Minister to reassure this House and our country that there is no quota system applied, and that people don't look at, say, look, we need so many attorneys, so many lawyers, barristers, etc. Can you give the firm assurance that there is no quota system applied when actually looking at the passes for these exams?
When I was sitting for the exams myself, Madam Speaker, I was told that there was a quota system. But now with hindsight and with experience, I can reassure the House that there is no quota system.
Speaker, my last question on this topic, which is important, but obviously...
Leader of Opposition, can I interrupt you? There are two other members who wish to ask questions, and we have got some few minutes left. Honourable Ganu.
Ask the Honourable Attorney General whether, in view of this unsatisfactory situation which has prevailed over the years now, why didn't he draw the attention of the Council on the necessity of looking for another accredited institution, another provider to dispense the courses? Especially, the problem is, as the Honourable Leader of the Opposition said, these courses are advertised for 12 months, but in fact they last for only 8 months. This year, the courses stop end of August.
Well, I can only convey this specific issue, which is squarely within the jurisdiction of the Council.
Honourable Ratna.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In relation to the high-level committee which the Honourable Attorney General is proposing to set up, has he deemed it necessary to, other than contacting the senior member of the judiciary of the United Kingdom, has he deemed it necessary to contact reputable institutions like the former Council of Legal Education, which is now the City University, for example, in the UK, and the barreau company in the United States, these people who have got huge experience in conducting bar exam, to come and contribute to our system here?
Yes, totally, you're right. My learned friend is right. But in fact, the chairperson, the proposed chairperson, was himself responsible for the Bar Standards Board, so he's wearing two hats. And now he has retired, and he has gladly accepted, so far as I know, to undertake this task. We are just awaiting a confirmation in writing.
Honourable Ramane.
Merci, Madame la Présidente. Madame la Présidente, les candidats qui échouent dans une seule matière sont très souvent obligés de reprendre toutes les matières. Est-ce que le ministre est d'accord de rendre le système plus juste et de permettre ces candidats de prendre seulement la matière où ils ont échoué?
Madam Speaker, I am informed that the Council may grant exemptions upon application. I think this answers the question of my friend.
Leader of Opposition.
My last question concerns the cost. This is adding insult to injury. The very high cost of the course, which is 120,000 rupees or so, which is probably far higher than any other of the cost or the fees that University of Mauritius charges. So, as an immediate measure, could the Honourable Minister, especially since the pass rate is so low, people have to take it 3 or 4 times, immediately reduce by large amount the fees of 120,000 or so that are paid to students hoping to pass his exam? Can this be done, please?
Yes, Madam Speaker. Yes, the Honourable Leader of Opposition is right. But some funny things happened in 2012, Madam Speaker. All these funny things, I don't know how happened in 2012, but I can reassure the House and the population that this government will set things straight.
Sorry, can I just get a clarification? Because often questions are avoided. Are we able to count on this Honourable Minister to see to it with the University of Mauritius that the cost of the fees for the courses will be reduced substantially, especially given the very, very low pass rate at these exams?
Once again, Madam Speaker, these are issues to be dealt with by the Council, and not only the Council of Vocational and Legal Education, but the Council of University also. It is not a matter to be, it's not a question where government sets the fees, but I can certainly look into.
Madam Speaker, just the last one, we have time. We have the Minister of Education here. We have the Minister of Education here. You're not the Minister of Education, but we do have your colleague. You sit in cabinet. This is a real issue. This is a genuine issue. Nobody passing, you're having to pay hundreds of thousands of rupees, much more than any other fees for the University of Mauritius. And we count on you to see to it with your colleague that you do whatever is necessary to have these fees reduced, please.
No, I cannot give this guarantee. Just on a question that the university will take a decision unilaterally. For this course, the university is acting as an accredited person. Accredited persons mean accredited by the Council of Vocational and Legal Education. This has to be addressed, therefore, holistically.
No more questions.
Motion.
Madam Speaker, I move that all the business on today's order paper be exempted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10.
The question is that all the business on today's order paper be exempted from the provisions of paragraph 2 of Standing Order 10. Those in favour say aye, those against say no. The ayes have it.
Statements by ministers, none.